the future of the world is a digital world. And I would like to ask you, uh, what are the things that you have learned from the visionary people? And let's talk about future technology, um, human race, whatever thing you want to share with us, because you are a thinker, and we love to. You're a reader and a thinker, and then you always have an ability to distill some thoughtful insight, and you have a great way to share with people in a very simple way. So love to hear your 10 things.
Well, thank you so much. That's very kind of you, Elizabeth. This is just something that I start writing down because over the years, I've been very fortunate to work with some of the great minds, great mentors, coaches, and great friends. And it's one of those things where you kind of look back and say, wow, I've learned so much that it just came easy, and once I started writing things down, it was quite interesting that some of the things are, you hear over and over again, but you don't really practice. And the reason I started to write things down is so that I can remind myself that these are the lessons that I want to, continue to learn, continue to improve on. And so, I don't know if it's going to be resonating with your audience, but it helped me, certainly helped me as when things are tough. And you mentioned about stress. Stress is always going to be there. I don't think there's any situation where you would not you'll be completely free of stress. And so I take advice of someone who told me that when you're stressed, think of 3 things that you are grateful for, and it helps to put everything in the right perspective. And I think that's really the important part of, as we go through our professional careers and difficult times and challenging times, there are always things that we can be grateful for, and that really puts things in perspective. One of the things that I wanted to start off is that as we continue our progression and professional growth, we often look for or specify or identify weaknesses and try to focus on improving on that. And it could be a worthwhile time spent. And but as time went on, I started to notice that the amount of time I spend and invest in to improve on some of the weaknesses that I have, actually a lot of weaknesses I have, I started looking at, what is that sort of the proverbial point of diminishing returns. And, we don't have unlimited amount of time, and, that time horizon when you can invest and realize the return on that time investment was, became more and more important. So I realized that I need to really look at understanding what my strengths are. And so, I spent a lot of time looking for weaknesses, and then forgot about, defining what my strengths are. And, funny thing is that when you start looking for your strength, sometimes you get embarrassed because it's a very personal question you're asking yourself, and you have to be really honest about answering that question. But when you go through that sort of introspective journey, you realize that there's a lot of things that you can bring to the table. And the funny thing is that one of the funny things that people around you actually tell you what your strengths are, and you kind of go, no, that's not me. Well, they're seeing from their perspective that really is value that you're bringing to them, whether it's an organization or a social situation. So, I remember talking to a really, really smart, brilliant software developer many years ago, and for him, being a manager is a one milestone that he had to get to. And so we talked about, why is that important? And, in a lot of cultural nuances, right, having that title of manager is really, really important. And so, we put the career plan together, and he was on the track, on the career path to be a manager. And, within 3 to 6 months, we both start to look at, is this really working out for you? And, when someone is struggling, and you want that person to really experience and hopefully, overcome that struggle. But when somebody's struggling so much that is deteriorating his quality of work, I as a manager, I had to step in and I said, listen, I think your strength is in technology. You can be the greatest chief architect of any place you want to go. And so why don't we, pivot and start looking at the technical track? And, long story short, he's one of the most brilliant chief architects that I know. So, sometimes you don't know what your strengths are, and somebody has to tell you. And, that's probably one of the better lessons that I learned from people around me, sort of giving me the guidance to push me to the, to a different direction, kind of nudging me to think about different things. And in the end, you have to make a decision, right? It's your career choices, or it's the decisions that you have to live with. But listen to others, and but listen to your voice. How is that voice carrying forward? And so that was one of 10 things that I learned from Great Minds.
Yeah, I totally agree. I learned the same thing from WITI back in 1997 before I joined WITI. And I went there, and one lady drew a star on the wall, said, you know what, you're a star. Am I a star? Yeah, you're a star because you have a strength and you have a weakness. And then later on, I thought, you know what, it's not, that's don't call it weakness. That's called a signature. Because you're a star, so you must have some weakness. You must have some strengths. And then focus on growing strengths definitely is useful, because I studied the cloud physics. When you look at the snowflakes, actually the snowflakes, they grow from the tip, not from the valley. So it's a natural law that the strengths can draw a lot more energy and it can grow much faster. Just like the plant, always the tip grows the fastest.